Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana Live. It's great to see you all tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about DJI in 2021. So it's going to be a bit exciting, talking about what could be coming, what we know is coming, and a few other bits and pieces. And we'll be joined this evening by my co-host Stephen Sutton of the Flyby Guys. And we're also joined by Felix from Quadcopterguide, who is very kindly come back to the channel to have a chat with us. If anybody doesn't know Felix's channel, there is a link in the description. One of the things I really appreciate about Felix's channel is he will do leak videos, rumor videos. Yes, I do those, others do them, but the amount of research that goes into them is meticulous, and they really are of high quality. So when something gets into one of his videos, you can be pretty sure it's probably going to be happening. So there's a link in the description to his channel, and also to Stephen's channel as well, the Flyby Guys. Just very quickly say hello to a few people in the chat. Hi to Eric Watt. Hi, I think you were the first person in this evening, actually. Fish Diaries, great to see you. Akirasho, good to see you as well. Top Flight, hi. Andrew McQuillan, who's that? But good to see you anyway. Graham By, Ian Whiting, good to see you. Rod Piker, hi sir. Yeah, absolutely fantastic group in here as well. Hot Rod and Daytona, you need to come to the Florida meetup next year. Yes, I do. Hopefully next year I'm going to be able to get over to some of these physical meetups over in the States, which would be absolutely fantastic to throw a little fat Brit into the middle of it all. Mike Drennan, great to see you. Gecko Drone Videos, thanks for popping in as well. And Mike Plowman, good to see you as well. Thanks for passing that information on from Henrik over at Tech Drone Media. I appreciate that, sir. The Hovering Shutterbug, one of our channel members, good to see you as well. And the Mojek was very early tonight as well. Great to see you. And Johnny DRC, hi. It's good to see you as well. And of course, our channel moderator, El Smeghead, great to see you as well, sir. So, want to start with something which is a little bit serious for a moment, and then we'll get back to normal events. But obviously, as we know, we lost somebody from the drone community recently with Rick Halber sadly passing away. Rick was, everybody has already spoken about Rick at great detail. He was an absolutely fantastic guy. I already knew that from the fact that I didn't really know him that well, but I knew how great he was. He was also one of my first subscribers as well, and he was always extremely supportive in those first months while I was putting out some absolutely horrendous videos. Some would say they haven't improved. But Rick was always extremely supportive, and really my heart goes out to his family. It's great to see them interacting with everybody on YouTube. I think that's helped the community heal a little bit as well. But one of our viewers, Rod Piker Drones UK, very kindly put out a tribute video, which I'd just like for us all to be able to take a minute or two to remember Rick by playing this out. Excellent, really, really fantastic work. The subject matter, the editing, the music. I didn't touch any of that. That was all Rod Piker Drone UK's work, and yeah, really, really appreciate it. And there have been a lot of videos put up recently, paying respects to Rick, and it shows that he was, a very popular guy within the community, and will be very much missed. So yeah, thank you very much, that Rod Piker Drones UK. As you can all see, I've now brought the co-host and the guest into the into the stream. So hi, Stephen, good to see you, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Sean. Good evening, Felix. How are you all doing?
Excellent. And Felix, hi, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you again.
That video was great. Rod Piker Drones UK. You can be proud of that one. And
yeah, absolutely awesome.
Do you know if he's going to put it online so people can watch it?
It is actually on YouTube on his channel as well. There is a link. Perfect. There's a link in the description to his channel actually, which I would recommend. I mean, I'm already a fan of his videos because some of the cinematic shots that he gets are absolutely superb, and he really picks his subject matter well as well, which I think is so key. I will often go out flying with my drone, and I'm just flying up and down and around, which I enjoy. I enjoy it. So hey, but really hunting out those fantastic spots and subject matters is so important. So important.
Hey, little Snakehead says I'm a little quiet.
Yes, let me boost you here as well. Actually,
I'll let you do that.
There we go. I've boosted you both. Yeah, thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. It wouldn't be Geeksvana without audio problems. We were just saying that. And Stephen Sutton, okay, on this day, Stephen Sutton unfortunately cursed me because he said, it's been so great the last couple of months with your audio, Sean.
I only said it was you. I didn't say it was Felix.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. But yeah, I've boosted their volume, so hopefully you should be able to hear that now. And I'll turn my microphone down a little bit to draw a bit of balance for the old headphones there. Excellent. So yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about DJI drones. One thing I did just want to mention very, very quickly is one of our channel sponsors, which is here, Drone Masterclass. Anyone in the UK looking for your A2 CFC or GVC course, please go along to dronemasterclass.co.uk. There, of course, is a link in the description. Andrew McQuillan of said company is in the chat this evening, so good to see you as well, sir. And today they actually launched a new promotion when you have your GVC course, where you actually get a month's free insurance, commercial insurance, which is which is all good fun, isn't it? So
that's also free insurance, free T-shirts, and free gin.
I'm not sure about the gin.
Free gin.
You get an ID card.
I don't need the license.
That's it. Yeah. be an expensive bottle of gin, but hey,
Still waiting on my aviator.
Yes, but do you know what? Because Andrew's not on the stream, so I don't actually have my aviation gin here. So, which is
he's on the chat. He's in the
I know. Stop causing trouble. You've already
something about free gin for the next GVC purchase. Haha.
Free gin for the next GV purchase. Haha. Well, someone should go along and buy one. Although it would potentially be an expensive bottle, but there we go. So yeah, thanks guys for coming along and chatting with us. Now we've got a good sort of mix of different levels of a drone operator, YouTube operator, etc. that here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see the different opinions we get, especially with Felix's focus on the channel side of things, very much knowing his DJI drones backwards. Frankly, backwards, hold on, sideways, and through some of
he flies backwards.
Well, yeah,
this is the point of the show where we manage expectations.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Felix is all right. Felix is okay. Yeah, he knows some things about some things, but not much really. So, so the first question I actually wanted to put out, we are going to be talking about the FPV drone, the Air 2S, the Mavic 3, and all those other wonderful, exciting things, Inspires and all sorts of different things. But the first thing I actually want to ask, because this is something that I enjoy knowing about the people I meet as well, actually, who are fans of DJI, who enjoy flying those drones, is actually from you two guys, what your favourite DJI drone so far has been. So Felix, which would you say has been your favourite?
Oh man, there's the favorite, there's the most, the one that made the most impact on you and your kind of drone career.
Well, tell us both. Tell us both.
So when it's
that's
time,
interesting.
When it's time to get the shot and you're kind of you're looking at a camera drone, that's what DJI has mainly been producing up until recently, then I think the Mavic 2 Pro, that's been my go-to ever since it came out. The Phantom 4 Pro before that was obviously very good, and it can do, DCI 4K, which the Mavic 2 Pro cannot.
Of course.
There's situations where you need that. I don't have one of those situations, or haven't had one. So for me, it's the Mavic 2 Pro.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. But of course, the one that made the biggest impact was probably the Phantom 2. That was my first Phantom, and back then, a lot different. Manually attach the GoPro to the
Absolutely,
gimbal.
yes.
If you wanted to see what was getting shot, you had to do an analog video transmitter, and
it was work. It was work. I mean, people unbox it. We unbox our DJIs now, even the FPV drone, which is down by my side actually. We can relatively quickly go out flying. It was quite funny when the FPV drone came out, and there was a lot of people complaining about the amount of time it was taking to update it. And to be able to go out and fly and that type of thing. I thought, well, actually, it wasn't that long ago. You'd be doing all sorts of things to your DJI before you could go out and fly. So it's pretty cool. That's really interesting, though. How about you, Stephen? What's your favorite DJI so far?
Well, again, just to reiterate, what Felix said there. The Mavic 2 Pro I think that was a game changer, really.
Yes.
I mean, even though we had the same, size sensor on the Phantom 4, the 1-inch sensor, and that really has been, let's say the benchmark and what we will be expecting for the next lineup, which is obviously why we're here now to talk, obviously.
Yes, indeed.
But the 1-inch sensor I think I said this, in a few videos before, that this was my go-to drone. This was my favorite drone. But I think that one drone which has really surprised me, and has, I think the Mini 2 has been one of those drones now, which each time I fly the Mini 2, which has not been too much, but whether I've been in the desert or whether I've been flying here in the cold and stuff, and it's a remarkably good drone. It's not a bad drone. I mean, for the size and the sensor and the capabilities of it, it's not a bad drone. And the budget, I don't think too much about the budget, to be honest. But I mean, I just think that for the accessibility of it, for the size and just the quality you're getting out of it. It's really not a bad drone at all. So I think that the Mini 2 is a bit of a game changer. And notice that I'm not saying Mavic Mini 2, because obviously the Mavic Mini, the Mavic 2 Pro. I think in one of my previous videos, not my last video, but the video before, I actually had all three. I had the Mavic 2 Pro, I had the Mavic Air 2, and I had the Mini 2. I was doing the 4K video, and it was really strange to have those three drones flying and just feeling how heavy and how loud the Mavic 2 Pro was against the Mini 2.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this is actually...
Because because the Mini 2 does have that advantage that it is such a small aircraft that when you do launch it up, it doesn't intimidate people around you, so you're able to use it in closer proximity.
Quiet,
exactly. It's up and gone really before you have to worry.
It's socially acceptable as soon as you switch on the motors, So
indeed.
It's going to be. I think 2021 is going to be an interesting year.
No, I do. I completely agree with you. Completely agree. Yeah. I have to say, for me, in terms of favorite DJI drone, I haven't had the Mavic 2 Pro, so I've come from things from the hobbyist side, obviously, and building upwards. I do now have an Inspire 1, bizarrely.
What?
It came up cheap, and I just kind of wanted one. So
With X4 or X5 gimbal?
It's currently got the X3. Actually, it's literally the base one. Although the chap who sold it to me does have is it the X5? I told you, Stephen, or is it the X?
Yes, X5.
So I'm probably going to go back for the X5 quite soon. But obviously, then I was about to go back for it. Then the FPV drone came up actually. But I mean, as far as favourites, I mean, I would have to say the favorite drone that I enjoy flying and that I like interacting with and seeing in the air and that type of thing and using, I would say is the Mavic Air 2. I really, really enjoy that drone. It is absolutely fantastic. But my most used drone and the most practical drone that I have is the Mini 2, because with the new UK drone rules, I'm able to fly that without too much thought. I've only got to check the airspace and just be safe, and I can have at it pretty much. That isn't a general. Please go and watch my playlist. Link in the description to the UK drone rules to do your checklist to be safe. But you can even fly that thing from your back garden here in the UK now, which is fantastic. There's a lot of freedom with that. So I think it's a really great drone. So I would say between those two, and I think DJI have done a good job by bringing out something sub 250 gram that is so popular, with the OcuSync in there as well. So
it's value for money. That is the thing. It's value for money.
Yeah.
It's
and
really
it's
good
opened the
value.
hobby up, hasn't it? It's opened the hobby up to a lot of people. So Rod, I'm doing a little rap there. Rod Piker Drones UK, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Sean. Have a gin or me. Cheers. Thank you. Do you know, I don't even drink that much. Andrew McQuillan, who is in the chat, who is one of my co-hosts and a channel sponsor, is ruining my reputation. He seems to have everybody believing that I'm constantly drunk, but I really appreciate your generous donation, Rod Piker Drones UK. It's great to see you, sir. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk about the FPV drone now, but first of all, we're going to play a little clip that Felix sent me over earlier. So enjoy this. You will very quickly be able to work out that it isn't me flying.
What was it?
Very cool. Absolutely fantastic footage there, Felix. It looks like you're getting to grips with the drone and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's different from the DJI camera drones. It's different from the kind of hardcore freestyle racing FPV drones. Different doesn't always mean bad.
No, indeed.
But if people are interested, in-depth review. First part went on my channel 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
second part is coming soon. You'll learn what I don't really like about it, but what is great for beginners. So, if people are interested, make sure they check that out.
Exactly.
But this is definitely different, and we've been waiting for how long for DJI to
I
make
know.
their own?
Yeah, exactly. And finally it's here at long last. It is good. Just very quickly, Florida UAV Systems, thank you very much for the $5 super sticker, which is a little computer guy, like a Nintendo guy. Critical hit. I like that little graphic.
Nice.
Actually. It's quite cool. Yeah, very, very cool. Andrew McCullen is saying he's surprised I haven't turned it on yet for the noise. Now I'm stopping that now because I don't want to battery cycle or cause a fault or something with it. I did turn it on about 100 times the first few days I had it on everybody's live streams, but there we go. But yeah, some fantastic flying there. And one of the things that I was saying earlier, obviously about Felix's leak and rumor videos being in depth, it's the same actually with his review videos, and I got that impression again with the FPV drone. Did it tip the 40 something hours?
No.
Okay.
I unfortunately was not in the position to do something like that. And, I got this after the fact. I bought it with my own money. So it wasn't as critical to be one of the first,
absolutely,
with a pre-release. So I figured, hey,
Indeed.
Everybody's seen all the crazy ones, and so it's time to bring it up from kind of the everyday person view. So
indeed, if anybody's wondering, we've spoken on Geeksvana before and shown some of it actually, where the Mavic Air 2 in-depth review, which took something like 40 something hours for Felix.
That was ridiculous.
I wake up in the night with a cold sweat. 40 something hours of editing, but it shows in that video. It's superb. The cinematic opening of it and everything is absolutely superb and really shows what you can do. And it's great for us to inspire towards.
To be fair, I think 44 hours that counted all driving there, getting the shots. So it wasn't just editing, but hey, it was still way too much time.
I remember that. I actually remember that opening shot. It was extremely impressive.
It's great, isn't it? It's great, and I've seen that with the FPV drone as well. I've seen some creators, some people with only a few hundred subscribers that have actually put a little review together, and their opening shots and things, their B-roll looks better than the DJI marketing videos. Frankly, there's a lot of talented people out there. Yeah, but it's great because I think YouTube, Instagram as well pushes people on to not compete with each other, but to see what other people are doing and to try and reach that level, which is
we've seen that this week and last week. We've seen that with the bowling alley video.
That thing went so viral.
Oh, it's crazy, crazy. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
And then we had the volcano video this week as well. So and that was incredible. That was just unbelievable.
That was nuts, and that was DJI FPV drone video.
Yes, that's right.
I wonder if it melted as it went over there.
Yeah, you have to wonder, don't you? But yeah, the bowling alley video was absolutely superb and just shows again. It shows the professionalism and the skill, but you have to wonder if there's a behind the scenes somewhere where they show they actually took about 3 shots and how much reset they would have to do if they could. You imagine just crashing right at the end and thinking, okay, do we just edit or no, we're going to do one shot.
But one thing which I do like about this is that it was a good, let's say, positive bit of PR for the drone community, which really hit the news. So
absolutely,
that was something which was really good.
Yes, indeed, and it will obviously have launched a few careers as well. Frankly, so it's certainly got them some attention, which is very well deserved. Okay, moving on, we're going to stop very briefly at another FPV station. Now, I'm not an FPV channel and I'm not an FPV expert, so I won't be talking for a long time on this, but only to pass on some information that we're hearing regarding obviously the production being halted on the Air 1 units, the DJI FPV Air units, the sort of combo with the camera and everything that we now get that alarming message when you go on to try and buy one to say that they're no longer in production. Please go buy an FPV drone, which is an interesting thing to say to the FPV market for sure. And yes, there it is indeed. And there is a lot of talk as to whether they are withdrawing from that marketplace or not. There's a lot of videos out there talking about this. I have to say my information and my opinion is that we will see an Air 2 unit coming along. And I think this might be similar to the Phantom 4 thing, where the Phantom 4 is dead. No, it isn't, sort of thing. Whereas it's just perhaps poorly worded on the website. Again, they can't say we have an Air 2 coming because DJI never do that. DJI never, even with the FCC links out there now, they're not about to come out and say, yes, we have an Air 2S coming in 3 weeks or anything. That just isn't the way that they handle their marketing. So I think it's just them closing that off, again, because there's obviously chip shortages worldwide as well.
Yes.
And there is, I believe there is a statement that has been issued talking about the fact that they're going to continue with the Air 1 unit going through is it Cadex system? Am I pronouncing that correct?
Yeah, Cadex Vista is that lightweight area.
Yes, the lightweight version.
You can't put the memory card in,
Yes, I think there's some kind of agreement that's going to continue there and allow that to happen. But again, it's also going to be about getting hold of the chips as well, of course, for anybody in that marketplace. So as I said, we're not going to talk too much about that one because it isn't. I don't like talking about things that aren't my speciality or that I don't know much about.
I even heard that there's production lines at the large automobile manufacturers that are just standing still because they can't
That's
get their
right.
hand on these chips.
Yeah.
That's right. Several of the world's largest car manufacturers have halted. It is absolutely incredible, and of course, you also have to look at the pecking order of these companies with the different financial weight that they hold and political weight as well. Of course, in terms of actually who will get these things, it'll be interesting to see who starts to roll off the production line first. Frankly,
Chips and vaccines.
I'm sure there's going to be another. I'm sure there's other drone channels that focus on cars where they're having the same conversation. Where I can't get my car.
Yes, exactly. A few Tesla channels worried about the chip shortages, etc. So, okay. So next up, we're going to look forward to the. Let me make sure I've got the right button here. No, that's the wrong button. Okay, I'll come back to it. I'm going to look forward to the DJI Air 2S, which is a little bit of a curveball for me, I have to say. I'm not sure I was necessarily 100% expecting this to be a product, to be a drone that's going to come along. And you know, it's certainly, obviously, even the sticker size, even with the little corner cut off, it's exactly like the DJI Air 2 sticker. There you go. Thank you, Felix. It looks exactly like that, and of course, it has the same as Felix's report that came out very early on this stated. It has the same. It's the same size battery, etc. So it holds the same charge. So. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I have to say, as I was saying before, the Air 2 is probably my favourite DJI drone, and I'm wondering what they can add to it in this refresh.
Yes.
To convince me to buy another one. Frankly, it's going to be really interesting.
That was my. Go ahead, Stephen.
I was going to say a sensor.
You think?
Yeah. It has to be a larger sensor.
Yeah.
What else? Why else spend the money on?
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And I know that there was even in my initial live stream as well. There was some thought perhaps there'll be some kind of EU UK certification so we can get our first C2 drone. Yeah. But the information I have on that side of things as well is that this will not have that. And I know that. Henrik brought out a video earlier this evening, which Mike Plowman very kindly let us know about in the chat, that also states from his information that it won't be certified as well. And to me, you know, I thought straight away, this must be certified because otherwise it's not going to sell in the EU and UK, which I know is a smaller marketplace for DJI. But it, you know, if it had the C2 label, it would sell like hotcakes. I would certainly buy one straight away. And I'm not sure if an Air 2 with just a better camera is necessarily going to get me handing over my money. What are your thoughts on it, Felix?
That's a very interesting point. Look, I think DJI knows that, and I think we are going to get maybe the new Active Track 3 or OcuSync 3 or whatever. So it's not going to be just the sensor.
Yes.
But if you look at, this is not the Air 2S, this is the Air 2. If you look at that, the gimbal, I mean, how much larger of a camera do you think this thing would fit without having to upgrade the whole thing? Now, in my very in-depth technical review of this thing, you learn that the sensor in here is the Sony IMX586. And this sensor is used in a lot of cell phones, iPhone, Huawei, however you say that.
Huawei, yeah.
Huawei.
Yeah.
All kinds of Android phones. And so, you know, it makes sense that DJI would grab something like that off the shelf, something that's used in a lot of other devices. Now, rumors point to maybe they use the IMX, what is it, the 686 or the 689,
686,
which also has been out since, February 2020. So it's not that new, but I guess it is new. And essentially, this is a 48 megapixel sensor with a quad Bayer array, and I guess we can go into a little bit of detail, but there's lots of pixels. It can take 4 pixels next to each other and treat them as one to get less noise in lower light kind of conditions. And so this IMX 686 can do the same thing, but it's not 48 megapixels, it's 64. So I don't know. The sensor is supposed to be a little bit larger, but the jump from 48 to 64, I think the pixels themselves are getting smaller again. And if you know, smaller pixels means worse, low
Indeed,
light, so.
Indeed. And one thing that actually hi to PD Tech, who's one of our regular viewers in the chat, and a point that he's making, which is something that I started to touch on with the Mini, actually, that you almost feel like DJI could be looking at going down the route of the refresh, the iPhone 62 type thing, because I know the Mini 3 is already not rumored as such, but people talk about the Mini 3 having the sensor at the front instead of the LED, etc., which was what was originally intended for the space. And you do wonder whether they'll go down that route. I'm not sure it would necessarily work in the drone marketplace, but then I own a Mini 2, an Air, an Air 2, an FPV drone. I'm one of the people that has bought these drones, so in one sense I'm saying actually I'm not sure whether people will buy these things, but then I do go out and buy them. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of angle they take on it. I have to say that the fact that I don't believe this will have a C certified label on it, I think I probably would wait unless they could bring out something killer in there, because they do know their audience, and they probably know what I want from an Air 2 before I know what I want from an Air 2. So I am fully prepared.
Very Apple of them.
Yes, exactly. I am fully prepared, and almost looking forward to see what happens with it. And I as I know you will be as well, Felix. I'm looking forward to the retail pictures being leaked, and the someone holding one testing it being leaked, and that type of thing. Although I'm not sure. The photos, there's only a couple of photos we're really going to be bothered about, which of course is the front showing the gimbal, because I'm not sure we're expecting too much else to change on the drone itself, which is interesting. So would in your opinion the 686, would that move the Mavic Air 2 into slightly more of a professional user, or would they need to go full Hasselblad to get that kind of up?
That's a good question. As somebody put it out in the chat, the 686 is only a 1/1.7 inch size sensor, so it's actually smaller. I'm sorry, it is larger than the 1/2 inch on the 586. So we are getting larger, but 1 inch in the Mavic 2 Pro, that in comparison, that is huge.
Yes.
So I don't know. Honestly,
we're not moving up enough, are we? Really?
No, you're not going to get a commercial job with the Air 2S that you wouldn't get with the Air 2.
Exactly.
Well, I had tested the Air 2 with some AI software, and it didn't pick up small details that the Mavic 2 Pro and the Phantom 4 was actually picking up. And you can see that on one of my videos. I think it's can the Mavic Air 2 sustain a business? And,
yes.
So I pushed it through this AI for actual traffic management. And the small details it wasn't picking up was actually pedestrians. And
not so small details.
Yeah.
It's not blades of grass.
fairly important data there, really.
yeah. But it was picking up like buses and trucks and cars and whatnot. And but you could easily see the video the pedestrians were not being picked up. So that really says to me that you can't really use the Air 2. And of course, it depends what you're going to be doing with it. Of course, But
of course,
I like to push them to the most extreme, And I think that using software is the only way to actually deliver if you're using it in a business anyway. So that's why the Mavic Air 2 is not really suitable. I mean, the basis of that would be Phantom 4 or
completely agree with you.
Pro.
Yeah, completely agree. Just very quickly, one more shout out to our other sponsor this evening, which is Moonrock Insurance, which is a UK drone insurance specialist, especially on the commercial side of things. They do have a hobbyist product coming very soon. You get your quote now at moonrockinsurance.com. There is a link in the description. Thank you to them and Simon, who's the MD there, for becoming a channel sponsor. I really, really appreciate your support.
Very cool.
We're going to be able to, we have all sorts of things happening on Geeksvana in the next couple of months, which will be very, very exciting. and will mean that we can bring even better content to you guys. So thank you very much to our channel sponsors for that. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about the most talked about drone that doesn't exist, or certainly doesn't officially exist. And I think I could, everybody in the chat, which drone am I going to talk about next? I mean, I won't wait too long because obviously I think they know that which one it's going to be. And it begins with M, and it has the number 3 at the end. Yes, it's the Mavic 3. Yes. There are 2 points that I would like to get both of your opinions on this. The Mavic 3 has, of course, been talked about a lot. There's been an artist rendering out recently again, which is, again, this has to be the most drawn drone in history, going back to the Ozita LV drawings and everything else like that. This has to be the most drawn drone in history, frankly. But I wonder 2 things. I wonder, firstly, whether the Mavic name is going, or whether they're perhaps even reserving it for this, because of course they've dropped it from the Mini, and we now know from the Air it's going to be dropped from that as well. So it's going to be interesting, and whether or not we are going to see something particularly dramatic with the Mavic 3, with the next, let's not necessarily call it the Mavic 3, but the next prosumer drone, whether there is actually the technology in existence to really move it forward that much at the moment. So Felix, how do you feel about, firstly, the Mavic name being dropped from things like the Mini and the Air? Do you think that has a significance on the next prosumer drone?
That is an interesting point, because let's say that the Phantom line is done, then if you call something the DJI Pro 3 or the DJI 3 Pro, then you don't have to differentiate Mavic and Phantom. So
absolutely,
as sad as I would be, because I think there's still so much between a Mavic 2 Pro and an Inspire 2. The bandwidth there is huge to do something that's in the middle there. I personally would have loved to have something like that, but we don't. The Mavic 2 Pro, of course, was super revolutionary. The compact size. I haven't used my Phantom 4 Pro Plus since my Mavic 2 Pro review, when I filmed the one drone with the other.
Wow.
That's actually why it's on eBay right now. But the Mavic 3, let's call it the Pro 3 Pro or Pro 3. Which of those would it be?
I suppose if they dropped the name completely, I suppose the DJI Pro 3, I suppose
Pro
it
3,
would be.
Yeah, or 3 sounds good.
Yeah. It's a difficult one for me, because I often think that I actually felt them moving on from Mavic even before they started dropping the name, but then I also thought, with the amount of hype out there, they could literally put Mavic 3 on the side of this can and sell them, and sell hundreds of thousands of units, because people just want something with that name on it. But I could see the Pro 3, whether or not they even start to drop the numbering, I'm not sure, but that wouldn't really fall in line with with what they're doing. I think the Air 2S confuses me slightly.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, okay, so you're now going to come with S versions. That's doing something a little bit funky. Obviously, they had the ADS-B issues, and I understand that this will potentially have that in there. So I suppose they're saying, actually, Europe, you can now get one with the ADS-B, so we're going to call it the A2S as well, to give it a bit more of a marketing bump, I suppose. A bit of
also
a
very
bit of a
Apple
hype push.
with the S.
Yes.
That was the main comment from many people.
Exactly. Just very quickly, in the chat there, hi to Ian in London. Great to see you, sir. He apologises for being late. Well, that's just not acceptable. I was going to mention it later in the show, but for anybody else that is interested, on the 1st of April, so that's next Thursday, which is April Fool's, you're going to have, I don't think Ian would mind me saying, 2 April Fools on the show together. We're actually going to be doing a live Q&A, and we're going to be having everybody calling in live. So that could not possibly go wrong. So you're going to be able to ask us either in the live chat or actually by calling in any question regarding drones, drone rules, anything you want to know, basically.
Very cool. And
we're going to limit our answers to 60 seconds so we can get through as many of them as possible. So that'll be next week on Geeksvana Live on Thursday, the 1st, which I'm really looking forward to. Great to see you, sir. And he says he's looking forward to it. A brave man, frankly, a brave man. So we're actually going to be doing that via Zoom. So you're going to be able to call in from around the world without there being a cost implication or anything. So it'll be great fun to see what differing questions we get from perhaps the US audience to the Europeans. Stephen, how about yourself? Do you feel like the Mavic name is nearing its end, or do you think they might be reserving it for the new drone?
Well, I don't really. I mean, I can't really see that the Mavic name has come to an end, because it hasn't really been out that long.
Yeah.
Thinking about the first Mavic, the Mavic, the Mavic Pro, when it came out in 2017, was it 2017, end of 2016? And that was such a revolutionary drone in itself. So that, like the Phantom series, it sort of changed the game, because you had the compactness. You had this drone that you could just put in your bag and fold away, and the image quality was just fantastic.
Although if you look at the popularity of the Phantom name, they have shown that they're not afraid to not kill off but certainly they're not afraid to move on to new things when they have perhaps a new form factor. And I wonder if the Pro 3 will have a different form factor that we haven't seen yet. And
well, I think well, I mean, you can still buy the Phantom now. As far as I'm aware, you can still have you can still buy a Phantom 4 Pro version 2.
Yes.
They are still for sale.
That's right.
And there was this talk about the Phantom 5, and I think that we had this conversation with Bill from Coast to Coast, where he said that this Phantom 5 was official, and DJI came out and even said so. I still haven't found that document. I still haven't seen anything.
There was so much said about that drone, because there was supposed to be some document that said it was that they did build one for a specific customer.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
Yeah, which I think the pictures from that one then spread like wildfire. Which of course anything DJI does, especially actual physical pictures like that. So for certain. So.
But that was years ago when I put those pictures in a video too. The two-tone drone with the removable lens.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were so ready for that, and then on the one hand, how big does a customer have to be to get a custom drone like that, and for that to make sense to do?
And who would that
ROI?
customer be? Who would that customer be?
Yeah, exactly. And why haven't we seen those in the wild?
I know, right? Yeah, and yeah, just some video of it flying somewhere, or someone saying someone on Instagram saying it exists. Here it is. Perhaps they've got some kind of NDA, but that would be unusual for a unit they've actually sold out into the wild. So for certain.
Like I said to Bill, last week, and Bill, I know you were watching it at some point. I don't know if you still are. If it's not been registered in the FCC, it doesn't exist yet. It's as simple as that. If it's not been registered in the FCC, it doesn't exist yet. So I mean, that's usually the first thing that will now let us think that this thing now exists.
Yeah. I think back then, because they were actual physical photos, and of course they were so detailed, I think it really gave people a lot of hope. And of course it also made sense because it was the product everybody wanted. So
right.
it was, to be able to sort of swap those lenses out, etc. People were like, well, this makes perfect sense.
When's it going to be what they wanted?
I think at that point,
yes.
if they released that, it would have sold like the literal hotcakes.
Yeah, for $3,000.
Oh yeah, I mean,
would have bought it.
Absolutely, it would have been hugely popular, which is I think why it gained so much momentum, a bit like the bowling video, why it went so viral, because it hit that spot, frankly. So
okay, so let's talk about what does the Mavic 3, the Pro 3, the 3 Pro have to become that popular.
Yes, I actually talked about this on Coast to Coast last night. Actually, I was on this live stream and we were chatting about it, and I felt like it needed to be something truly revolutionary, because I think that this we've waited so long for the next prosumer drone that we don't want to see a parts drone anymore, which the Air 2 and the Mini, they're fantastic because they've brought the technology into smaller form factors and they've made them more affordable. Fantastic. But now we need to see something which we're willing to spend I think maybe $2,500-3,000 on, and which will be a real serious contender. Perhaps even something like you were saying, Felix, that bridges the gap between the 2 Pro and the Inspires. Because of course we're not necessarily with the issues they've got with the enterprise market in the States, we're not necessarily going to be seeing an Inspire anytime soon. So yeah, I think perhaps they'll bring out something that does have detachable lenses. Who knows? I think looking at their product range that they've released so far, the detachable lens on prosumer drones could cause them more trouble than it's worth. So I think they might, from an R&D point of view, think actually we're not sure, and I'm not sure how well that's necessarily panned out for other drone makers as well. But how about you, Felix? What would it need to have for you to invest your hard-earned cash?
That's a great question. So the Mavic line, of course, has the camera out in the front like this. If you look at the Phantom 4 line, if you look at the Inspire, the camera is more centered under the center. So from a center of gravity perspective, if you start changing lenses, then you're not going to have a perfectly balanced aircraft. So I also would be surprised if there are switchable lenses. And I was just thinking, 1-inch sensor. 1-inch sensor is quite large. I think they can do a lot more with the 1-inch sensor than they did with the Mavic 2 Pro. I think at a certain point, video bandwidth is important. I want to be able to get 200, 250 megabits per second out of that thing, which of course generates a ton of heat. So I think heat management is going to be a big struggle. So I think from the design aspects, we're going to see better heat dissipation. All these APAS 4.0, whatever they're going to put into it, requires a lot of processing power, and that just generates a ton of heat. But maybe this will be the first kind of consumer or prosumer drone that'll give us log color. I think a lot of higher end YouTube type of people are dying for something like this. Compact, relatively lightweight. If you compare it to an Inspire, who's going to lug an Inspire around anymore when you've got something like that?
Well, me actually, but that's just for fun. And I was lucky enough to get one of the backpacks which has the Inspire in its ready to fly positioning and everything as well, so I can literally put it out,
true YouTuber,
put them on, and it can go. So yeah, it won't be going on the channel very much. It really is like a passion play thing, frankly, when I'm down the flying field, etc.
To date, I have yet to fly an Inspire.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when the arms go up, I feel like a teenager again, frankly. And then I'm like, right, what do I do with it now? This huge thing sat in the sky. But anyway, that'll come with practice, of course, and time. But no, that's really interesting what you're saying about that. And it's Ian. I always go to call him Ian from London. Ian in London is saying the Mavic 3 under 900 grams, size of the Air 2 with the function of the 2 Pro with a 1.5-inch sensor. With genuine 30 megapixel stills, I would certainly buy that drone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That goes on to what I would say as well.
Yeah.
So,
and anything else you would add to that, Stephen, as far as from your perspective as well, because stills and also, of course, data is very important to your business. So the fact that this drone is going to replace the 2 Pro, which is decent at data, it's going to have to be impressive.
It's going to have to be really good. It's going to have to be really good in order to replace it. I think just as Ian was saying there, larger sensor. If we have anything larger than a 1-inch sensor, it's going to be a no-brainer. Extended battery life, if we can get 40-45 minutes, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
And I think something which, again, I've said in one of my previous videos, I would like to have a wind sensor on the drone, an actual wind sensor. I would like to have wind data on the UI to actually give us the wind speed on there.
I can see that.
That would be really, really,
and in actual fact, you bring us onto wind. almost as if you know what I'm going to talk about next, which is very professional of you, sir. Thank you. I'm going to actually play a clip now from one of Stephen's videos on the Flyby Guys channel. There is a link in the description. Do go over and support him. It is different content because it comes from that professional, the very much the business side of drones, and it's there's some great advice in there. This is a clip from his video recently about having. I can't remember what was the title of this video. Can you remind me?
What was it again? Something about wind and not having trouble.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know this isn't. I'm going to have to look up the actual title of this because
wind never get caught out again.
That's it. Which, when I saw that come up on my feed, I thought, okay, has he changed his channel type completely here? But relax and just take in some great information here from Stephen for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back very soon.
Hi everyone, Stephen from the Flyby Guys. How are you all doing today? The subject is about wind. Wind is an issue that many people find themselves in trouble with because they don't have any understanding about wind itself. Wind on ground level can be very different to wind at 50 meters or 100 meters, 120 meters, or if you fly even higher, if you have permission for that, then the wind will be even stronger. Sometimes the wind might be much less higher. It's all down to the predictions, and there are some tools that can help you with that. One tool which I see many people using is the Proster digital LCD measurement thingy. This is completely useless. It's very useless, I have to say, because it only gives you the actual ground readings of the wind. And that's no use to you, but because you don't need the ground level wind. You really need to know how the winds are up there. That is the most important, because that's where your drone's going to be. If you want to fly your drone at 5 meters, then okay. If you want to fly it at 10 meters, then you're going to start getting into wind variations, and that is where you need to have a more accurate tool. Windy.com is the tool that I use for wind, and I base all my operations on this tool. It's super accurate. It gives you very, very good predictions, and it also gives you height limitations as well. So if I take this place that I want to fly, I can put the picker here, and I can see just immediately that the wind is coming from the southeast. It's 8 meters per second. If I go down here to the days and the time, I can see that it is quite accurate, and the wind will drop in the next hour or two. It will drop down to 6 meters per second. But the gusts here, the gusts are quite high. So probably the gusts are, I would say, up to maybe even 12 or even up to 11. But what's really, really, really important here is not just the surface, but 100 meters. So if we're flying at 100 meters, we can see immediately that the wind rises to 11 meters per second. And that means that the gusts will probably be way higher. So you're looking at probably up to 13, 14, maybe even 15 meters per second. So there you can definitely see that your drone will get into some trouble there. There will be some warnings. Now, your drone gives you warnings. If you have a DJI drone, if you look on the bottom left, you'll see the attitude, and it will give you some kind of warning there. From that, you'll get the warning on the top left, giving you that it's windy and you should land immediately. Now, why haven't DJI put a wind sensor on one or let's say all other drones? Because we're getting these warnings already. So why can't they put a wind sensor so they can give us the wind reading on the UI?
Excellent. And as I say, there is a full version of that video on Stephen's channel. There's a link in the description. Do go across. You see Stephen here regularly talking a lot of sense and trying to deal with myself and Andrew McQuillan being silly. He's always the professional one. But his channel is fantastic, and it comes at things from a slightly different angle to anything else that you'll be watching. So I do recommend it. And thanks for letting us share that, Stephen. It's really interesting.
Thank you for showing.
Yeah, indeed. Well, hey, anytime, sir. Okay, so what's coming up next on Quadcopter Guide, Felix?
That is a great question.
Yeah,
Putting me on the spot like that.
because your channel's different to mine, whereas I'm sort of I'm a bit of a scattergun when I'll pick up certain subjects, and I'll of course, being a news channel as well, I'm able to rattle off a video quite quickly. But with the time and effort that goes into yours, we don't see as much from you, but then perhaps that shows up even more when you are there. So yeah, what's coming up next?
The next video that's going to go out is going to be the part 2 of the DJI FPV drone review.
Ooh, excellent.
Because I think this thing is huge. If you are ever have been curious about what FPV is like, or maybe you've been flying a Mavic, a Phantom, a Spark, whatever, and you're like, man, this FPV thing is pretty cool. That bowling alley shot is pretty cool. How do I learn how to do that? This thing has so many features that are beginner friendly. There are some cons, and this video that I'm going to bring out is going to mention some of these cons, and also looking at it from a beginner and intermediate type FPV drone viewpoint. So that's coming up soon. And after that, I've been having a lot of fun flying my custom built FPV drone. So maybe some more about that.
Yes.
But I assume it's going to be kind of this DJI FPV drone is going to be a subject in a few more videos.
And actually there is some stuff, even while you're waiting for those future videos. If FPV has got you a little bit the bug flying the DJI FPV drone, there are actually some great videos of you building your first FPV drone on the channel, which I remember, and that was really interesting, the way that you did that. And I've seen a few channels like Original Dobo, etc., who've crossed over into FPV, and it's been fascinating watching them share that journey with the audience, because it does get you to buy into it, and it got me so close. But thankfully, DJI saved me from having to build one by presenting me one ready to fly. Certainly one that's above my skill level already, so I'm perfectly happy with it. I did get 2 flips in manual.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
And it's in one piece. Yes, on board. Yes, obviously I wasn't sort of I wasn't filming from the ground, unfortunately, but yes, I was very concentrating very, very carefully, and it was very, very high when I did those flips. So yes, so it's exciting.
I dropped a playlist link in the chat of that.
Thank you.
Videos that you mentioned are on there. So
excellent. Thank you very much.
Check that out.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and that's one of the things about channels like yours. Actually, a lot of the older content is actually still very watchable, because it's still relevant. Because obviously, if you want to get into FPV, how to build one of those is still extremely relevant. And coming up on Geeksvana very, very soon, we've got a few exciting videos coming out. We've got an update coming out soon on the Mars helicopter. We are on hope, if it goes ahead on the 8th. We are going to be bringing you that as live as we possibly can, just like we did with the Perseverance landing on Mars, which was a good fun night for myself and Stephen. Although dealing with some of the aftermath wasn't as much fun on YouTube, but there we go.
What aftermath?
Well, it's a huge frustration that I have that I spent a good 2 or 3 weeks preparing for that, with some great contacts actually at NASA and got all the permissions I needed. NASA are very generous with allowing their content to be shared anyway. But got all sorts of we even had Dr. Pascal Lee, who is a director of the NASA Horton Mars project, who came on to talk to us as well. And unfortunately, because some other YouTube channels, which are news stations, marked their channel as everything is copyrighted, our video was taken down 6 times during that sweet spot overnight, and yeah, it really affected things. I had a lot of fun making the content, and it's back up. It's back up fully now, and every single copyright claim got dealt with. But it was a little bit frustrating. It took a little bit of the ebb away, and in fact, I forget his name, but one of the very big NASA channels, he's got something like 380,000 subscribers. He said the same thing the next day on Twitter, that he had, I think it was 12 copyright claims overnight for footage that people simply don't own. That he had explicit press permission to use. So, but yes, we've got more on the Mars helicopter coming up. There's also I'll be taking my GVC course, and I'm going to be sharing that with you in a series of videos coming up, which includes, and Stephen, I haven't told you this yet, but includes the potential that my flight assessment will be live streamed.
Oh,
I got that impression today from the messages that were being kicked back and forth.
The things I agree to, the things, I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll do that, we'll do it, and then we can record the flight assessment for the series of videos too. Why don't we live stream it? They say, okay.
It'll be fun.
That sounds perfectly scary.
Are we going to have the music of Benny Hill over it as well as you're doing it?
Well, and any kind of music to hide my tears potentially would be a good thing. And we've also got an update coming in this coming week on the Microdrone 4.0 campaign and the crowdfunding campaign which we've been following, with some very interesting information on that. So yes. How about you, Stephen? I know that obviously you've been very busy this year so far with work. Have you got much planned on the channel?
I've got a couple of videos which I've been trying to film this week, which I might even try to do tomorrow. So I have a couple of new videos which I have coming out as well. I've been super busy, as you know, this week and the past few weeks, but it's been good to be home, which has been nice.
Yeah.
Although
I do miss Dubai, Stephen. Now, Felix, Stephen was kind enough, even though he was working in Dubai, and it at the time of night that my show was going out, it was often 1 or 2 a.m. in Dubai, and he'd literally come off the airfield from working. He was very, very kind to still turn up to our live streams, which is real commitment, frankly. But he slowly got more and more bedraggled. And by the last stream, he was sort of the most unmanicured, sort of finished version, and he literally looked like a beach bum, and he was in his
you should have seen me a couple days ago.
Wild man.
Sand in your hair.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sand got everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible complaint.
Electronics and sand.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes. And people and sand.
Laptop. I mean, actually, there's still sand in this laptop that I've got now.
Wow.
I'm still seeing sand in it.
Hopefully, it's not a butterfly keyboard from Apple.
No, it's not. It's not. Thankfully, it's not. Otherwise, it would be dead.
Excellent. Okay, well, that's it for everyone. Thank you to Felix for joining us. Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate everybody coming in. We didn't live stream for a couple of weeks for a few different reasons, and thank you for coming back, frankly. We'll be on next week with Ian in London. The following week, we'll have the Commercial Drone Show, episode 1, which was cancelled from a week ago, which I'm really looking forward to with our new co-host, Emily. Looking forward to everybody welcoming her into the drone community for sure. So, Felix, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to the second part of your FPV drone review. And
no worries. Always glad to be here. One quick
yes, sir.
Request from everyone in the chat. Looks like there's 70 of us here now. There's only 34 likes on this video. Make sure you guys go down and like this live stream right now. That would help us all out.
I would appreciate that too. Thank you. So everyone, thank you very much again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Geeksvana Live. Keep an eye out for the next uploads coming from us from Monday onwards. Bye-bye.
talking, and I need more of a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking.